in, put this on, so I'm nice and warm now. So yeah, I want to talk about my recent experiences around autism and employment. I think this is a real important area for a lot of us. I don't know if you know this, but only 22% of autistic people are in full-time employment. Most of us are unemployed or underemployed. That's for quite a few different reasons. And some of these things have been very challenging for me as well. There's often a situation where loads of autistic people are very highly skilled people, and because of the kind of ableist society and culture and workplaces, a lot of us aren't in employment or are underemployed, despite the fact that we have an extremely high level of skills a lot of the time. And that's my situation. I'm definitely underemployed at the moment. If you look at my CV, it is banging in terms of like conventional ways of assessing like CVs. Blah, blah, blah. I know my stuff and I'm good at it, and you know, I'm really friendly and stuff, and like great team members. I've been quite lucky in my employment up until, I guess, content note bullying. Like, I guess I experienced like light bullying in some of these places, but never as bad as like my last time I was in full-time conventional employment, and yeah, and it was like really devastating for me. But yeah, I've got a YouTube video about that. Also, that's been very popular, probably because a lot of other people have been bullied very sadly. It's been one of my most popular videos. So yeah, I guess, again, I think it's important to talk about these things, and just they're very common. So I had this interview recently, and like, I don't know, I clearly had like extensive amount of skills and experience for this situation. But one of the things that people are trying to do, I learned this in training when they're interviewing you, is you're trying to fire off like parts of their brain. I can't remember what it's called, but it's basically to do with friend and like ally and you're one of us vibes, which is like very much what a lot of autistic people are shit at doing. The amount of people I meet, and within the first few seconds they're like, I don't know, mate, there's something going on with you. And like, obviously they don't say it, but they can tell that I'm different. It's one of the reasons why I'm very explicit about being autistic within the first, you know, few conversations I have with someone, because I'd rather someone know than like pick up that I'm like different and then be like horrible as a result, which has happened a lot, which is obviously not really great. Anyway, whatever, side note, blah, blah, blah. And I can literally tell in an interview when that's happening, and like I can tell on people's faces, they're like, this person's really not feeling like they're, you know, in the group. But obviously that happens for a lot of people. And at the same time, like, there are specific things for autistic people that we struggle with even more. So I would say like everyone like struggles with interviews, and a lot of autistic people struggle even more with the same or some different themes as well. I just had so much experience, and that's really what should be judged by. And no, I'm not saying like I deserve the job or whatever, but and at the end I think there was a clear point where I was like, oh, why did you do that, Nadia? But it's like, that's you being autistic and or ADHD. Like, it's the small talk thing as well. Like, they were doing small talk, and I just, in the small talk at the end, I just had this memory that I thought was like relevant and interesting. But it was just afterwards I was like, actually, that was so random. I could just tell that was like a major point where they were like, actually, I don't think so. But it's so annoying because it's nothing to do with the job, and I didn't do anything that was like bad, or like I was just being neurodiverse, you know what I mean? And before every interview, I know what they want and how they want me to act. And if I try extremely hard, I can do that. But it's so exhausting. I have this thing when I'm excited where I'm like, I put my hands together like this, and I'm like, yeah, kind of thing. And I was like, don't do that, just put your hands down and don't move your hands. But I did it because I just couldn't help myself. It's hard for me to not do that, or to not steer with words or with actions. So like yay and wow are like my stim words. And again, like that could seem as like so-called not professional. With like eye contact as well, like eye contact, I have a very piercing gaze, and like I feel like because of that, and because of my own kind of like eye contact themes and kind of struggles or whatever, like I like to change it up. So I like to like not look at people all the time. And that's why it's such an issue with culture. It's the culture that's so like, you have to be like this small thing, and you have to be exactly within this circle, and then everyone else is kind of like around the circle, and like we're all deemed as like strange, but we're not at all. And Yeah, and so it's like you can't give too much eye contact, but you can't give too little eye contact. So I was like struggling a bit with that, because if I'm just not looking at them in the interview, then that makes me look sketchy apparently. But it's like I was getting really good answers. I was like, bam, I got all this experience, I've got these examples, da 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 da. And also like handshakes as well. Like I've got like a comic kind of video where I'm talking about that. So I think it was okay this time. There was definitely one person, you know, the person that meets you and like takes you in, who thankfully was not interviewing me, but I like shook her hand, and then she kind of made it last a bit longer than I expected. And then I think I was like, oh, okay, well, so we're doing another handshake for some reason in my head. So I kind of like squeezed again, which is like really not what you should do. Oh my God, I really don't like doing that. But it's just, I'm just a bit like confused about it. So I just, that's the kind of thing that puts people off choosing you, because they're like, no, this person's not following what I expect, or like, I just feel a bit like uncomfortable around this person. And obviously I don't want people to feel uncomfortable, but also at the same time it's like making people feel as comfortable as possible. People just naturally feel uncomfortable around autistic people, naturally. I mean, like socially, culturally. So you're just a bit like, well, fucking hell, man. I just can't do anything. Never mind the whole application process. I've just decided to, just write on everything that I'm autistic. And I know that means I'm not going to get as much interest, but the people that are interested at least are going to know, and at least are going to be progressive enough to try to try. I'm just sick of like trying to pretend that I'm neurotypical, because my culture is like, you have to be like this in order for you to like earn any money. And that's another thing. Like recently I heard this poet who was talking about the link between like poverty and disability. I'm quite lucky, and at the same time I've definitely been impacted a lot financially because of being disabled. You know, the benefit system is incredibly hard to access, and they do that deliberately. I'm going to try and work on that as well soon, to try again with getting disability benefits, because I definitely qualified. Obviously people judge you as well for like not having a conventional job, or not making it like loads of money, or like struggling, or being bullied. Like people judge you for those things, and it's just like, let's like lay off. Just like, you have no idea what you're talking about. It's not got nothing to do with me, those kind of judgments. People are just ignorant and messed up themselves, and you know, pour them in a way. I'm not super happy about the situation either. I'm doing amazing, like considering what I've been through, and like loads of us have been through, like we're doing amazing. And when I do get work, then it's a highly likelihood that I'll get like bullied. So I don't know how much more of that I can weather. That's why it was so sad when I resigned from my really difficult job. It's just such a shame you've been bullied out of a situation that was very hard to get in the first place. If you're autistic, it's just like, this was so hard for me to get here, and this person just taking it away from me because they're a horrible person. Like, I spent so many years retraining myself up to be like the best colleague and the best, you know, person you could have in an institution and in a team. And I did all that to be as effective as possible in a professional setting. And yet my experience has been, people have been incredibly intimidated by my skill sets in teams. I'm intimidated that they start attacking me, even though I'm like, I'm literally trying to help and trying to be the best person that you want me to be to help you. And so that's been a recurring theme, is that people get intimidated by me and then attack me to try to bring me down, because of the whole structure of like bullying and capitalism and money, and you know, that's how people get like promoted, and you know, that's how they succeed a lot of the time. Not always, but it's through being ruthless. And I'm not really cut out for that. I just feel like I wasted all that training and all those skills. I know I won't. Like, I'm obviously working a good job now, and I know lots of other people are in this situation. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm special. I'm just saying like, this is my life and kind of my recent musings and how this relates to inequalities and disabilities and autism and stuff like that. What really needs to happen is companies need to change their approach to like neurodiversity and disability, and take things like bullying much more seriously. And it's incredibly, incredibly dangerous, bullying. It's very serious. And you know, it's just wrong. It's also the basis of like an unequal society as well. It's a massive part of the structures that we've built around us. People just need to leave neurodiverse and disabled people alone, and like prioritize them and celebrate them and honor them, you know, just like you honor anyone else. It's part of why I'm so passionate about some of these areas, and why I'm so passionate about new ways of working, and how autism in the workplace can be celebrated and appreciated. I'm sure there are workplaces like that in conventional work that people can find, and I'm quite excited to continue to like build my freelance portfolio and get to more and more stable ground as time goes on.